Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The old captain coming to you live from the living room. Something a little different today. I'm standing instead of sitting. I'm not in a canoe. I'm right here in front of the TV and the gas logs. And I'm standing for a reason. I kind of want to use it as a visual aid, okay? Our lesson today is in Exodus chapter 17, and here are the characters. Moses, Aaron, Moses' brother, Joshua, and Hur, H-U-R. And the Amalekites had come into the scene, and they were coming to battle the Israelites, and Moses told Joshua, he said, go down and get our best warriors, get our best men, and go fight the Amalekites. He said, Aaron and I are going up to the top of the hill, and I'm going to hold up the rod of God. Now, this is certainly not the rod of God. This is the broom of the old captain. But this is where the visual aid comes in. Now, there was really no power in the rod itself. The rod represented God. God had Moses strike a rock to make water come out. He had Moses point the rod toward the Red Sea, and it split. He had thrown down the rod early on, and God turned it into a serpent, and he picked up the serpent by the tail, and it turned back into a rod. So it was just a representation of God, and it was not the rod itself any more than this broom can sweep by itself. So anyway, he said, Joshua, you go fight the Amalekites, and I will hold the rod of God up. And he did. And as long as the rod was held up, the Israelites were winning. But what happened? Moses' arms got tired. If you've ever held something over your head for any length of time, eventually it gets tired. And as the rod came down, the Amalekites started to win. When it was up, the Israelites were being victorious. But as he got tired and that rod came down, then the Amalekites got stronger and stronger. Well, what happened? I thought you'd never ask. What happened was Aaron and Hur got on either side of Moses. First of all, they put a big rock or a stone so he could sit down. Now, I'm not going to sit down because I might not be able to get back up. But he sat down on a rock, and he held that rod up, and under one side, Hur held the arm, and on the other side, Aaron held the arm, and between the three of them, they could keep that rod high, and the Israelites were victorious, and he could hold that rod throughout the day into the night when the battle was finished. So that's a simple story, but it has so many applications, and I think the applications are wonderful. We're in the new year, and I don't know how many of you make resolutions, New Year's resolutions. Maybe you make things like, man, I hope so-and-so can do something for me this year, or I hope, I get this, or I hope I get that. Well, I contend that we might need to make resolutions of service to others. Where would Moses have been had he not had Hur and Aaron to hold up his arms? There may be people in your sphere of life that need to be held up, need to be encouraged, need to be boosted from time to time. I know if you're a believer and you're involved in church, you might start with your pastor. he needs to be undergirded. He needs to be encouraged. He needs to be prayed for. He needs his elbow lifted up every once in a while. As a Sunday school teacher, it's such an encouragement to me when people come alongside me and encourage me and lift me up. Or if you're in the choir, maybe you need to lift up your choir director. But even if it's not in-house, in the church, folks, we got people all around us that need to be lifted up. They need to be encouraged. They need to be shored up, you might say. The world is full of desperation, full of heartache, and it's our job to do for others. In Mark 10:35, Jesus himself said that the Son of Man did not come to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life as a ransom for others. If Jesus came to serve, are we not called to do the same? Well, that leads us to this morning's Crooked Creek Hymn of the Week. And I've turned the light on. I know it's kind of bright, but turned the light on so I could see the words to the hymn. I tried it both ways, but seriously, I need the light. So the reason we hold up, the reason Hur and Aaron held up Moses was they had a story to tell. They said, this is our God, and we are serving him. We've got a story to tell to the nation of Amalek that our God is the only God. And folks, we've got a story to tell as well. And that happens to be our hymn of the week. It's number 586 if you have this particular hymnal. But it's entitled, We've a Story to Tell, and it's written, the music and the words were written by H. Ernest Nicol, 1862-1926. It's 4 verses, and I'm going to read the first one. I like to read one once in a while just so you can get the idea. But the first verse says, We've a story to tell to the nations that shall turn their hearts to the right, a story of truth and mercy, a story of peace and light. For the darkness shall turn to dawning, and the dawning to noonday bright, and Christ's great kingdom shall come on earth, a kingdom of love and light. All right, sing along with me if you will. 4 verses. We've a story to tell to the nations that shall turn their hearts to the light, a story of truth and mercy, a story of peace and light, a story of peace and light. For the darkness shall turn to dawning, and the dawning to noonday bright, and Christ's great kingdom shall come on earth, the kingdom of love and light. We've a song to be sung to the nations that shall lift their hearts to the Lord, a song that shall conquer evil and shatter the spear and sword, and shatter the spear and sword. For the darkness shall turn to the dawning, and the dawning to noonday bright, and Christ's great kingdom shall come on earth, the kingdom of love and light. We've a message to give to the nations, that the Lord who reigneth above has sent us his Son to save us and show us that God is love, and show us that God is love. For the darkness shall turn to the dawning, and the dawning to noonday bright, and Christ's great kingdom shall come on earth, the kingdom of love and light. Final verse. We've a Savior to show to the nations, who the path of sorrow hath trod, that all of the world's great peoples may come to the truth of God, may come to the truth of God. For the darkness shall come to the dawning, and the dawning to noonday bright. And Christ's great kingdom shall come on earth, the kingdom of love and light. So folks, as the new year starts, are you looking for people to serve you? Or are you looking for opportunities of service? The work cannot be done just by one person. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Moses. I don't care if it's Abraham. We're called to help. We're called to lift up the name of the Lord so that others can come to know the Lord. I hope you've had a good weekend. Been crazy around here, snowing and carrying on. So hopefully we'll get back on the creek in a day or two. But in the meantime, look, I appreciate you stopping by and participating in our Crooked Creek Hymn of the Week. Think about Moses. Think about Joshua down there fighting. Think about Aaron and Hur. It took all of them to do what the Lord wanted them to do. And remember the words of our Savior, that the Son of Man did not come to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. Thank you for joining us for this week's Crooked Creek Hymn of the Week. If you've enjoyed it at all or gotten anything out of it, please share it. I look forward to seeing you next week. You take care and God bless.